Hello, this is Willie from the Ozarks and ready for our October 17th lesson in the Course in Miracles workbook for students, which is My Present Happiness is All I See. My present happiness is all I see. Can we do that today? Can we just have today be a day of unending happiness? Well, it's a choice we make. You know, I heard of a guy the other day, Max Egan, and he said, I haven't had a bad day in 20 years. Well, you know, we should be able to say that. You know, the problems you had 25, 30 years ago, or however old you are, back several years, they're not even problems today. Well, they weren't problems then either. It's just that we thought they were. We want to start seeing our present happiness in all the experiences of our day, and allow forgiveness to keep our days happy. My present happiness is all I see. So let's read this. Unless I look upon what is not there, my present happiness is all I see. Isn't that nice? Unless I look upon what is not there, my present happiness is all I see. Eyes that begin to open, see at last. And I would have Christ's vision come to me this very day. What I perceive without God's own correction for the sight I made is frightening and painful to behold. Yet I would not allow my mind to be deceived by the belief the dreams I made or the dream I made is real an instant longer. Yet I would not allow my mind to be deceived by the belief the dream I made is real an instant longer. This the day I seek my present happiness and look on nothing else except the things I seek. Remember, that's what's going on in reality anyway, your present happiness. It's just that you thought a thought that wasn't according to your unity with your present happiness, and you made that powerful mind made you believe that what was not real is real. So now we're going to stake our claim at our identity. My present happiness is all I see. And then in the prayer he says, with this realization I come to you and ask your strength to hold me up today while I but seek to do your will. Let's read that one again. With this resolve, my present happiness is all I see. With this resolve I come to you and ask your strength to hold me up today while I but seek to do your will. You cannot fail to hear me, Father. When I ask, or what I ask, have you already given me, and I am sure that I will see my happiness today. And if you're sure, then you will. If you don't see it, it's because you're not sure yet. Practice a little forgiveness and increase your awareness, your wisdom, your knowledge of your identity. All right? They go together. The more you practice forgiveness, the more you know about truth in yourself. Okay, we're going to go look at the defense of conflict in chapter 7 of the text, starting in paragraph 82. While you're turning there, if you want to read along, I've shown you this before a little over a month ago, and I just wanted to let you see it's still holding on. I thought that thing would be ripe, that one lemon. I'm a Meyer lemon. But I'm pretty excited about it because it's still got a little green to it. Let me get over here a little closer. You can see maybe better. Still got some green to it, and you know the rate it's going, since it took all month and it hadn't really got a lot yellower. I'm getting ready to take them in the house, and I thought, well, look at this thing. It's producing little flower buds. Let's see if I can get down where you can see one. Can you see that one right there? Little flower buds it's producing, and it looks like they'll be opening here at some point. I'm excited about learning all about these things, and I want to increase the plant. I want to get it to where I'm growing more of them. Heard about a guy up in Iowa, I think it was, that grows lots and lots of lemons for the local market there. He grows them under a greenhouse through the winter, outside in the summer. Okay, so look what I found about it, about these Meyer lemons, which are Citrus mururi. I wanted to share with you, how do you propagate them? Pretty simple. Take some pruners and make sure they're sterile. Dip them in something to sterilize them, and snip off a 3 to 6 inch cutting and place it in water or in moist soil, either one. If you put it in water, you want it to, if in water, keep it clean and refill as it evaporates. It's said to strip off all the leaves except the top 4 in that 3 to 6 inch cutting. And then if you're putting it in a loose soil mix, and either way, put it in a sunny location. And some people put them under glass or under plastic when they're trying to get them to root, so it keeps that soil mix wet. I expect you wouldn't have to do that if you're putting them in water. So if anybody wants, I'm going to try to get some of these cuttings, but right now I'm just kind of letting it do its thing. It's got a whole bunch of buds. It's looking like I'm taking pretty good care of it out in the sunshine. So anyway, it looks like it's healthy. I'm pretty excited about my Meyer lemon. Okay, let's see. Paragraph 82. We once said that without projection there can be no anger. But it is also true that without projection there can be no love. Projection is a fundamental law of the mind, and therefore one which always operates. It is the law by which you create and were created. It is the law which unifies the kingdom and keeps it in the mind of God. To the ego, the law is perceived as a way of getting rid of something it does not want. To the Holy Spirit, it is the fundamental law of sharing, by which you give what you value in order to keep it in your own mind. Wow. Okay, for sure you got that? So the ego can use projection, and the Holy Spirit can use projection. To the Holy Spirit is the fundamental law of sharing, by which you give what you value in order to keep it in your own mind. Isn't that beautiful? Projection to the Holy Spirit is the law of extension. To the ego, it is the law of deprivation. It therefore produces abundance or scarcity, depending on how you choose to apply it. This choice is up to you, but it is not up to you to decide whether or not you will utilize projection. Every mind must project, because that is how it lives, and every mind is life. The ego's use of projection must be fully understood before its inevitable association between projection and anger can be finally undone. So we're going to learn a little bit. Remember, extension. So God created, I like to think of it, God created me because that is, what's that? Because that's extension, that's projection. And you're making your creations. That's extension or projection again. And I want to share with you all that I wanted to mention this to you, that a lot of these ideas are just, I've been studying this book for so many years because they seem like they're just right above my head. And it's inspired me to keep digging and looking and asking and searching. So, I'm understanding the ideas to a degree, but don't think that my explanations are complete. There could be much more. So hopefully I can be of some encouragement to you as you're studying along, and we're going through this together anyway, huh? Okay, paragraph 84. The ego always tries to preserve conflict. It is very ingenious in devising ways which seem to diminish conflict, because it does not want you to find conflict so intolerable that you will insist on giving it up. In other words, if the ego just let you make what it wants, the conflict so unbearable that you'd say, well, what am I doing following the ego? Well, we want to open up our eyes and be a little bit more peaceful so we can realize that it is more than we want. The ego always tries to preserve conflict. It is very ingenious in devising ways which seem to diminish conflict, because it does not want you to find conflict so intolerable that you will insist on giving it up. Therefore, the ego tries to persuade you that it can free you of conflict, lest you give the ego up and free yourself. So that's what we want to do. We want to give up the ego. But it's saying, oh, let me help you remove conflict in your life. Let me think of ways to make your life more peaceful by avoiding that person and by building this arm, or by putting up this particular fence, or by getting better locks, or all kinds of things to reduce your conflict. But he says, therefore, the ego tries to persuade you that it can free you of conflict, lest you give the ego up and free yourself. The ego, using its own warped version of the laws of God, utilizes the power of the mind only to defeat the mind's real purpose. It projects conflict from your mind to other minds in an attempt to persuade you that you have gotten rid of it. This has several fallacies which may not be so apparent. 85. Strictly speaking, conflict cannot be projected precisely because it cannot be fully shared. Now that's a neat concept that we're learning, isn't it? Strictly speaking, conflict cannot be projected precisely because it cannot be fully shared. Any attempt to keep part of it and get rid of another part does not really mean anything. Remember that a conflicted teacher is a poor teacher and a poor learner. His lessons are confused, and their transfer value is severely limited by his confusion. A second fallacy is the idea that you can get rid of something you do not want by giving it away. Giving it is how you keep it. Extension, projection. You want more of it? Give it away. The belief that by giving it out, you have excluded it from within is a complete distortion of the power of extension. So he's using the power of extension and the power of projection. Extension and projection. So he's using it interchangeably here. So remember, projection is the law, but in the proper context, it's love giving unto love, extending itself, making it more of itself, expanding. But used in the ego's realm, he's going to explain it a little better. That is why those who project from the ego are vigilant for their own safety. They are afraid that their projections will return and hurt them. They do believe they have blotted their projections from their own minds, but they also believe their projections are trying to creep back into them. They do believe they have blotted their projections from their own minds, but they also believe their projections are trying to creep back into them. That is because the projections have not left their minds, and this in turn forces them to engage in compulsive activity in order not to recognize this. You ever wonder why you can't seem to sit down and be still when you go to meditate? Well, let me read that sentence again and apply it. That is because the projections have not left their minds, and this in turn forces them to engage in compulsive activity in order not to recognize this. You cannot perpetuate an illusion about another without perpetuating it about yourself. There is no way out of this, because it is impossible to fragment the mind. And we probably should stop there, but I want to read this next paragraph and then we'll read it again tomorrow. It is loaded and I want you to think about it. To fragment is to break into pieces, and mind cannot attack or be attacked. Okay, that's nice to know, isn't it? To fragment is to break into pieces, and mind cannot attack or be attacked. Okay, it can't be broken into pieces. part of it attacking and part of it being attacked. The belief that it can, a fallacy which the ego always makes, underlies its whole use of projection. The belief that it can attack and be attacked, a fallacy which the ego always makes, underlies its whole use of projection. It does not understand what mind is, and therefore does not understand what you are. Yet its existence is dependent on your mind, because the ego is your belief. The ego is therefore a confusion in identification, which never had a consistent model and never developed consistently. It is the distorted product of the misapplication of the laws of God by distorted minds, which are misusing their own power. Do not be afraid of the ego. Oh, I better stop there. Oh, this is so wonderful. This is helping us to understand what we're doing with and where the ego comes from. It's just a set of beliefs based on the idea that we're separate from God, and that since we're separate, attack and being attacked is possible. Well, with that belief, we make a whole world of, and remember, what we send out emotionally and mentally is what we're going to get back in our world. So now we're starting to see the source of pain and sickness and death is this idea that we can attack and be attacked. This idea that we're separate from our source, from each other, from God. All right, let's go take a look at our reading. It'll be the last day we're going to read What is the Holy Spirit? And of course, this is my present happiness is all I see section. What is the Holy Spirit? The Holy Spirit mediates between illusions and the truth. As he must bridge the gap between reality and dreams, perception leads to knowledge through the grace that God has given him, to be his gift to everyone who turns to him for truth. Across the bridge that he provides are dreams all carried to the truth, to be dispelled before the light of knowledge. There are sights and sounds forever laid aside, and where they were perceived before, forgiveness has made possible perception's tranquil end. The goal the Holy Spirit's teaching sets is just this end of dreams. For sights and sounds must be translated from the witnesses of fear to those of love. And when this is entirely accomplished, when we've entirely accomplished turning our witnesses of fear, changing those into witnesses of love, when this is entirely accomplished, learning has achieved the only goal it has in truth. There's your main reason for learning. This truly is a school, and we're learning that one truth. For learning as the Holy Spirit guides it to the outcome he perceives for it, becomes the means to go beyond itself, to be replaced by the eternal truth. If you but knew how much your Father yearns to have you recognize your sinlessness, you would not let his voice appeal in vain, nor turn away from his replacement for the fearful images and dreams you made. The Holy Spirit understands the means you made by which you would attain what is forever unattainable, and if you offer them to him, he will employ the means you made for exile to restore your mind to where it truly is at home. Isn't that beautiful? From knowledge where he has been placed by God, the Holy Spirit calls to you to let forgiveness rest upon your dreams and be restored to sanity and peace of mind. Without forgiveness will your dreams remain to terrify you, and the memory of all your Father's love will not return to signify the end of dreams has come. Accept your Father's gift. It is a call from love to love. A call from love to love. Extension. Projection. It is a call from love to love, that it be but itself. The Holy Spirit is his gift by which the quietness of heaven is restored to God's beloved Son. Would you refuse to take the function of completing God when all he wills is that you be complete? Would you refuse to take the function of completing God when all He wills is that you be complete? We'll get it right. All right. So, let's just be so, today when I was doing this meditation, my present happiness is all I see. I could feel a resistance in me, and I realized that the resistance was my perception of the world from an upside down perspective. And boy, did that ever set me free. I was able to say, well, if I've got a little pit in my stomach and something that's not wanting to be joyful, to be happy, a part of my being that's unwilling to accept today's lesson, well, that's the part that's out of order. I'm still in order. I've just accepted a belief, and through that eyes, I'm seeing the world as upside down. Well, I just decided, well, I'm just going to let myself kind of what maybe float like a bobber and come up to the surface and just stay fixed on the reality that my present happiness is all I see. Okay, last reading for this one here. Unless I look upon what is not there, my present happiness is all I see. Wow, let's quit looking on what is not there then. Eyes that begin to open see at last, and I would have Christ's vision come to me this very day. When I perceive without God's own correction for the sight I made, what I perceive without God's own correction for the sight I made is frightening and painful to me, behold. Yet I would not allow my mind to be deceived by the belief the dream I made is real, an instant longer. This the day I seek my present happiness, and look on nothing else except the thing I seek. With this resolve I come to you and ask your strength to hold me up today while I but seek to do your will. You cannot fail to hear me, Father. What I ask have I already given me. What I ask have you already given me. And I am sure that I will see my happiness today. I am sure I will see my happiness today. So you be sure to see your happiness today. My present happiness is all I see.